This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, so let's take one h1 span.css h1. Inside h1, I am taking the two spans, span1, span 2, and this is particular span is going to be having some selector called class 1, and this particular span also having a class 2. Finally, this one is full stack web development, and this time this is going to be having Python Django. Okay, and finally I just want to write a style sheet, and inside the style sheet I'm going to be giving h1 background color is going to be red, and color will be white. Okay, so this is my h1 basically, but inside the h1 we are going to be having spans. First span is full stack web development, second span is Python Django. But what my requirement is, and for class 1.1 it should be something like a width 50% and .2, which is going to be having a width 50%, and background color for this is blue, and this one background color is going to be green. And finally, so one is the span, this one is a span, and this one is the one more span. This is having 50% and this is going to be having 50%, but span is not a full occupied element. Span is not fully occupied element. Then what we can do, instead of taking spans, we take table, we take tr, we take td, first td and second td. First td is going to be one table tr, first td is going to be full stack web development, and this will be Python React, and the first td which is going to be having the class called 1, the second td which is going to be having the class called 2. Now the requirement whatever we want I'm going to be taking, so this is going to be having something, and the td, the complete tr inside the table, tr which is going to be having so width 50%, just remove this. I don't want h1 inside this. So and finally table is going to be having width 100%. So table width 100% we are going to be checking, and the first one is going to be having percentages. Now we can able to go ahead. This one is width 50%, and the second one is going to be having width 50%, both width 50% I'm going to be giving. So now the requirement we got understand. The one text line center, and color is going to be white over there, and this is also. Yeah, that's it.
This conference will now be recorded.
Yeah, so in the last class, we are discussing something like that. And this is the requirement of whenever we want to take two sections in the particular table raw. The next one, I'm going to be working with font related properties, font style or font properties, font CSS, .html. So there are multiple kind of font properties related in CSS2. The one is font style, the one is font style, the one is font family, one is font weight. So these are the multiple properties which are going to be available: font style, font family, font weight. Okay, let it be. I just want to work out all these things. Okay, H1 I'm taking. H1, this will be web development, full stack, and take a style for this. H1 font family. First of all, font family. Whatever the font family we want, I'm taking the font family. And one more is font size. Font size. Four properties: font style, font family, font weight, font size. And this one is font family. Second one is font weight. Font weight is something like pixels I'm giving. If I'm giving some pixels, 900. And size, font size 50 pixel. Font style, the last one is font style. Font style is something like italic font style. Okay, so there are multiple kind of values I'm going to be providing for the font family, font weight, font size, font style. So whenever I'm giving all these particular values, yes, I got a different kind of font by the font family. I got a different kind of font weight 900. I got a different kind of font size, which is like 50 pixel. If I'm changing this to 70 pixel, bigger than that. Okay, let me open the default browser now. Your font size is very big. We got a very bigger font. So all these are actually different kind of font properties. Next, we will go with the text related properties. What are the different kind of text properties we will see? Text properties. Text properties.html. Okay, so there are multiple type of text properties. So, and one is the text align, uh, text decoration, text indent, text transform, text transform. One is the line height. One is word spacing. Yeah, these are the different multiple kind of text related properties which are available. One by one we will see. One by one we will see. The first one, paragraph I'm taking. Lorem. Lorem is some plain text which is going to be injecting for this particular paragraph. Yeah, so for this paragraph, what I want to do is I'm going to be writing the style sheet. Inside the style sheet, take a paragraph. For this paragraph, I just want to give different kind of things. So text align. There are multiple properties for the text align. The one is the left. So I'm writing the properties for the text line. One is the left, one is the right, one is the center, one is the justify, one is the inherit, one is the initial. Initial, yes. So these are the multiple kind of values I can able to give for the text line. May I can give the left, may I can give the right, may I can give the center, may I can give the justify, may I can give the inherit or initial. Left means the complete text towards left. Let me show this one. Let me show this one. This is my paragraph, and the complete paragraph is going to be aligning to the left, towards left. If I take center, the complete content which is going to be aligning to center. Context, the complete context is going to be aligning into the center. Center aligned paragraph. Center aligned paragraph. Okay, let me take one background color for the paragraph. Then you can able to understand very clearly. Okay, so background color something, and color should be white. And there we will be having a paragraph which is going to be aligned center. Text aligned center. If it is left, text aligned left, the complete text towards left side. The complete text towards left side in the blue box. If I took right, the complete text aligned right towards the right side. This is what actually called alignment, text alignment. Okay, so let me have content more. If I'm having content more, then you can able to easily understand how the text is going to be arranged in layer. So completely text is aligning towards the right side this time. If I'm giving left, the complete text is going to be aligning towards the left side. Now you see left side, and the thing is, you will be having some space got omitted after the magni, after the omen, ominous, after the elite, after the something, after the concept. So you will be having some space got omitted. I don't want to waste that particular space. This area. Can you see? Can you see some space got omitted over there? Some space got omitted here. Some space got omitted here and here. I don't want to waste that particular space. If I don't want to waste the space, what I want to do is I just want to take a justify mode. Instead of left, I will take a justify. If I do justify, this is common with the notepad or wordpad, whatever. Wordpad is going to be having justify mode. Now the space is not going to be allowed. The complete line is going to be adjusting into the same particular row. There is no space got omitted by the reason of justify mode. This is very, very important property. So there are multiple kind of properties: left, right, center, justify. Inherit means inheriting from the super element. So there is no super element for the paragraph. If I am going to be having one super element for the paragraph, for example, div I am taking. Div is the super element for the paragraph. Div is the super element for the paragraph. Okay, if I am giving some style for the div, okay, let me take a div. So div having text line center, or div having text line justify, and for paragraph I'm giving text line inherit nothing but inheriting from the super element. Super element have a text line justify mode, then automatically inherit means this is also justify mode. This is also having justify. Inherit will take style from super element. that super element is going to be div. Div is having some style. That particular style is going to be attached. Div is going to be having justify. Automatically, P also takes justify. Why? Because of P inheriting style from the division or super element. What is the super element there? Super element is div. And finally, you will be having. So finally, we'll be having justified content. So this is what actually the a property called first property we are discussing, text align property. The next property I want to give apply. So let me take this paragraph. Next, me take one more paragraph, or we'll take H1 web development full stack. Okay, for H1, what I want to do, I want to write a style. H1 text decoration, underline, underline. Yes, underline. So if I take underline, the H1 is going to be having underlined text. H1 is going to be having underlined text. Can you see this? H1 having some underline. And there are multiple properties. Yeah, one is underline, one is underline, one is overline, one is line through, and one is inherit, one is initial. Initial is nothing but a default, browser default style. Underline, overline, line through, in the inherit, initial. So let me give overline. So if I'm giving overline, what is overline here? What is overline here? Overline is going to be having. So can you see and observe? Can you see and observe the line coming on top of the text? That is called overline. Underline nothing but the line coming under the text. Text decoration overline here. Text decoration underline, text decoration overline. Two kind of things, and we will go for underline, overline, line through, initial, inherit. And one more property, text decoration. Yes, we're done with that. One more property, text transform. Text transform. What is the text transform? Let me give the text transform. Text transform. Text transform. So we'll go with uppercase. So there are multiple properties for that. One is uppercase, one is lowercase, one is capitalized, initial, inherit. Uppercase, lowercase, capitalized, initial, inherit. Open and default browser. Now you see that. Now we got applied uppercase transformation. Uppercase transformation. Then what about capitalize? What about capitalize? Capitalize nothing but first word of each and every, first letter of each and every word is capital letter. First letter of each and every word is capital letter. That is called capitalize mode. So lowercase is lowercase. We know the lowercase. Lowercase is lowercase. We know the lowercase. Lowercase is something like, the case is something like lowercase. We can see that. So I hope you got to understand the things.
This conference will now be recorded.
Then one more property we have called the text indent. So what about the text indent? Now I'm going to be applying text indent for the paragraph. Text indent. Text indent, I'm taking something like 100 pixel. 100 pixel. So if I'm going to be giving 100 pixel text indent, so where the indent taken? Can you see, observe? You'll be taking, or you'll be omitting some space before the first line. The first line is going to be starting with the 50 pixel space. That is called indentation. So we got applied some text indent value. So that indent value we got applied, that value is going to be taken. That is called text indent. And one more property we can give, that is word spacing. Word spacing. So word to word some space we are going to be applying. That is called word spacing. One more is the line height. I can able to specify some height for the line. Line height is 20 pixel. If I'm giving word spacing something, line height something, then output is should be something. So line to line some space got omitted, and word to word some space got omitted. Line to line some space got omitted, word to word some space got omitted. That is line height and word spacing. So these are the two important properties also we got applied. Okay, so these are the multiple kind of properties which are going to be available for the text. Text alignment of the text, decoration, text indent. Let me write clearly. Text align. There are multiple properties for this. One is the center, one is the left, one is the right, one is the justify, one is the initial, one is the inherit. Inherit. Text decoration. Text decoration none. Text decoration underline. Text decoration overline. Text decoration line through. Text decoration initial. Text decoration inherit. Text indent. This will be some pixel value. Text transform. Uppercase, lowercase, capitalize, initial, inherit. And line height is going to be something like pixel. Word spacing is going to be something like pixel. And finally, try to understand these are the multiple kind of properties which are going to be available for the text alignment. And these are the multiple kind of properties which are going to be available for the font related styles. Font style, font style. So this is going to be having none, italic, initial, inherit. Font family, a number of names which are going to be there. Web fonts, web related names, web names you can specify. Font weight, normal, bold, number, pixel you can give. Font size, pixel, larger, smaller, x small, x small, x large, multiple kind of font sizes. So there are multiple kind of font sizes which are going to be available. If you want, you can see, just search for font size property in Google. Font size in CSS. Just search for font size property. W3 Schools is going to be giving the multiple kind of font sizes. Can you see there are multiple kind of font sizes? There are multiple kind of font sizes. You try to understand what are the different kind of font sizes which are available. Medium is the XX small, X small, small, large, X large, XX large, smaller, larger, length. Length is nothing but pixel. Initial, inherit. The same way. So whatever the property I'm telling, this property you can check in the Google. Okay, so the properties whatever I'm writing is enough. But if you want to understand more, if you want to get knowledge more, then you take from Google. Just take this particular property and give in the Google, and automatically you'll be having some more knowledge about it. That's a way of learning. And the next concept is going to be selectors. Selectors.html. There are multiple kind of selectors. One is a tag selector, one is a class selector, one is a ID selector, one is a universal selector, one is a group selector, one is a fast child selector, one is a last child selector, one is a even selector, one is a odd selector, one is a nth child selector, one is a adjacent one sibling selector, adjacent all sibling selector. So there are multiple kind of selectors which are going to be there. Tag, class, ID, universal group, first child, nth child, last child, even, odd, nth child, and one more is attribute selector. Selector. Okay, so let it be. So these are the multiple kind of selectors which are there. Then I will go for the first one, tag selector. How tag selector is going to be work? Save it as tag selector dot html. Here, this one is the tag. H1 is the tag, and I'm going to be writing the style sheet for that. H1. H1 is the name of the tag. Selecting the name H1, and I want to give the multiple kind of properties. This is the tag selector. By that name of the tag, we are selecting the element. By the name of the tag, we are selecting the element and we are updating the CSS for that. And let me give the H2 now. H2. This time this is H2. For H2, what I want to do? H2 is different now. H2 color green. H2 color green. Now H1 having some color red, H2 having some color green. Different element, different style sheet. Different element, different style sheet. If I'm having paragraph, if I'm having paragraph have different kind of color, blue. See, by the name of element, we are applying the CSS. By the name of element, we are applying the CSS. This is called tag based selection. Tag selector. Tag selector. The next concept which is going to be a class selector. Next level. Class selector. What about class selector? Class selector.html. Let me write something for this. Okay, let it be. I'm going to be writing multiple H1s here, and this is something like a web development, and I'm taking multiple H1s. Okay, so for the first H1, I'm just giving a name of the class 1. Second H1, I'm giving specified with the class 2. This is simple name. Third element, I'm giving class 3. And finally, what I want to do is style sheet class 1. Whenever you want to access the class, so let me write the class selector is initiating with the dot symbol. dot symbol. Okay, class selector is initiating with the dot symbol. This is very important point out. Now what I want to do, dot one. Dot one is recognized one class. And this will be having some color called red color. Dot two. Dot two, which is going to be having some other color called color green. Color green. And that's all enough. So dot one, class one recognized. Dot one, one recognized. Dot two, two recognized. Recognition of HTML element into CSS. Recognition of HTML elements into CSS. That's all. So let it be. I just want to render this. So class 1 got selected, class 2 got selected. Class 1 got selected, class 2 got selected. Class 3, I'm not giving any color. If you want to give color for the class 3, you can give that. 3, at the same time color is going to be blue color. And finally guys, okay, yeah, blue color. 1 and 2 and 3, we are having different colors. And I'm going to be taking the class called Srinivas. Srinivas is my class. Srinivas text align center. Srinivas class, which is going to be having some special feature. That feature is going to be alignment the text center and font style something like italic. But what is going to be happening now? Take the Srinivas and add for the class, add for the H1, add for the H2, add for the H3. N number of classes I can able to specify. N number of classes I can able to specify for the element. So 1 is one class, Srinivas is one class. 2 is one class, Srinivas is one class. 3 is one class, Srinivas is one class. Okay, so what is going to be happening with the Srinivas? Srinivas having some special feature. That feature is going to be aligning text to center. Aligning text to center. Okay, let it be. I am taking one more class called .bg. .bg, which is going to be having some background color. Let it be. So I'll take a simple tan color. So taking bg for the first element, bg, space bg, space bg. If I'm taking bg over there, if I'm taking bg over there, I got a bg for every element. bg is going to be assigning, bg is going to be arranging for every element. That is what. So simply we are going to be working on class selector. Then the thing is, so we are having class selector, we are going to be having element selector. Element selector we done, or tag selector we done. Element selector or tag selector we done. Now we are writing the class selector. But let it be. I just want to write element selector now. For all the H1s, I am going to be giving the color red. I'm going to be giving the background color blue. So you are going to be updating with element selector, but it will not apply. Why? Because of class selector is the first preference to the browser. Class selector is the first preference to the browser. If I don't have any class selectors, I'm not writing any class selector, element selector will apply. Why? Because we have three H1s. All H1s are in the red color, all H1s are actually having background color blue. Yes, all H1s are applying with red color and background color blue. But whenever you are going to be having some class selections or class selectors, class selector will take the first preference. Element selector will not apply. This is no use. This is no use. This is no use. Even you are writing something, that will not apply. Okay, so whenever we have the class and ID, let me write something. Whenever we have class and element selector, Class and element selectors. Class selector is the first preference to the browser. Class selector is the first preference to the browser. That's it. Whenever we have class and element selectors, class selector is the first preference to the browser. That's it enough. And next selector is ID selector. What about ID selector? ID selection. ID selector.html. And we will be having multiple elements same like this. And here I have one more attribute called ID. ID is equal to 1. ID is equal to 2. There is another attribute. ID is equal to 3. We have 3 attributes now. And let it be, I'm going to be writing the style sheet then. Okay, so hash 1. Hash is the first, hash is the initiating. Hash need to be initiate for the ID name. Hash reference ID from HTML. Hash reference ID from the HTML. That is very important. Okay, hash 1, which is going to be having color red. Now we'll check it out. Open in the default browser. ID got referred. ID got referred. 1 got referred with red color. And hash 2 color green. Hash 3 color orange. Yeah, so red, green, orange. Red, green, orange. So hash is the first preference to the browser whenever we have the class. Okay, let me write the class selection also. We are already having some class selection. We are already having some tag selection. Let me take this. Take this and write down. So I told you CSS is element line by line selection, line by line execution. In the next line, I'm trying to writing the class selector. In the next line, I'm trying to writing the element selector also. But class selector will not apply. Class selector will not apply. Only ID selector is taking the first preference to the browser. So anyway, BG is there. That is a different class. That is a different style. That is not about the colors. If I'm not having the BG, if I'm not having about Srinivas, all those things, I don't care about Srinivas class. I don't care about the BG class. But here the colors red, green, blue, and here the colors red, green, orange. Red, green, orange. Can you see that? Okay, let me change this to purple color. Let me change this to yellow color. Yeah, so this will be something like magenta. And can you see and observe? Can you see and observe? So one is a BG, some BG got applying from where BG got applying from background color. Oh, this one is applying. I don't want this. Only color I'm trying to working with. So purple color, yellow color, magenta color. ID is going to be taking first preference to the browser if I'm going to be having. So let me write a point. If we are writing class ID element selectors, then ID selector is a first preference to the browser. Yeah, if we are writing class ID class comma ID and element selectors, then ID selector is the first preference to the browser. That is very, very important. We need to try to understand. One more important note point we try to understand. This is a note point. Just remember this. Just remember this. Okay, then it means what? That means what? You have the element. After the element selection is preferences class. After class preferences ID and sending to the browser. ID is the first preference.